What's good, YouTube? In this video we'll be taking a look at the Blackberry Passport in 2023. If you like this kind of content or find this kind of content helpful, leave a message down below. Don't forget to subscribe, and thanks for watching. So if you're watching this video, of course, you're wondering if the Blackberry Passport is still worth it in 2023. And the short answer is kind of, if you can get a working version of it. A lot of these devices have been bricked now because support has ended for the Blackberry Passport. But if you can get a passport that is working on your carrier that hasn't been updated or reset, a lot of the basic services are still working. We'll go into those and the software in a second, but if you're just jumping into this, we'll give a little bit of a breakdown of what exactly happened to the Blackberry Passport over the last few years. So it's been a little over 2.5 years since Blackberry actually announced that they would be ending support for the Blackberry 10 operating system. It was way back in March of 2020 where Blackberry advised that they would no longer be providing software updates, including security updates for Blackberry 10 and Blackberry OS devices. And this includes, of course, the Blackberry Passport. What this meant was that these devices would no longer receive any updates and new features, and the servers would eventually be shut down. And this would include any future security vulnerabilities discovered due to the lack of updates. In addition to this, of course, app developers have long since abandoned making apps for the Blackberry 10 operating system, but thankfully you have an Android runtime environment on the Blackberry Passport that allows you to run Android apps up to Android 4.3. So while the Blackberry Passport still does work, official support for it stopped a long time ago. This was a major surprise, as the Blackberry 10 devices still had a pretty loyal following in the Blackberry community. Yes, there were the Blackberry Key 1 and Key 2, which were Android-powered devices, but there was a lot of charm with these Blackberry 10 devices, including the Passport here and the Blackberry Classic. The company had actually previously shown that it would try to support these devices, and that Blackberry actually had several phones in the works that they were licensing out to third-party manufacturers. This all came to a screeching halt, though, just last year when the third-party developer for the new Blackberry phone actually dropped off, and Blackberry announced at the beginning of the year that they would be shutting down the Blackberry 10 servers. A lot of people speculate that one of the reasons why Blackberry did decide to shut down support for the Blackberry 10 devices was the overall shift in the company's strategy. Blackberry was struggling to compete with other major manufacturers of smartphone, including the iPhone and Samsung. So the general shift, which has been somewhat successful for Blackberry, was more on providing enterprise software and also security as well. And of course, as a result of this shift in strategy, the support for Blackberry 10 and maybe the budget for maintaining the servers for Blackberry 10 and the Blackberry Passport really did dry up. All the resources that went into maintaining these servers and other services like BlackBerry Messenger probably went into these new initiatives for enterprise software solutions. On top of this, while there has been a loyal fan following for Blackberry 10 devices and a very loyal community for the Blackberry Passport, the market for Blackberry devices was only a small fraction of what it once was. Usage of Blackberries and Blackberry 10 devices really decreased over the last decade or two, and it really wasn't profitable anymore to try to support these devices when other competitors owned a huge share of the market. All of this to say that even though Blackberry has discontinued support for the Blackberry Passport, there still is a very dedicated community of users that are trying to make sure they can use this device for as long as possible. And there's a lot of good reasons why there's still so much support for this device. Of course, the most obvious one is the keyboard. The physical keyboard on the Blackberry Passport is just simply unmatched in today's smartphone marketplace. A lot of people enjoy the comfort of this keyboard and find it much more efficient for typing and productivity tasks compared to virtual keyboards. There's just something about being able to feel each individual key press on this touch-sensitive keyboard with its rubberized buttons that beats just tapping your fingers against a glass screen. And that kind of brings us to the next point why the Blackberry Passport is still such a special phone, and that's productivity. This phone was designed with productivity in mind, and it's obvious from the screen size and form factor that it's much different than the media consumption oriented devices that are available today. The keyboard just forms one part of this productivity focused design, as there's a touch sensor in the keyboard that makes scrolling up and down documents and scrolling up and down emails a complete joy. This is appealing for people that want to use this phone for business or just to communicate more easily and quickly via email or text messages. And surprisingly, apps like WhatsApp and Telegram are still functioning depending on whether or not you can get an unbricked device in 2023. And the appeal still stands. Just typing messages, documents, and overall productivity on this device is just as great if you can of course get it working as it was when it was originally released in 2014. Another reason why this device has such a loyal fan following is durability. Well over 8 years after this original release, the Blackberry Passport, in terms of its physical condition and not the condition of its software updates, is still going strong. You have a metal chassis with very strong metal buttons, and none of the rubberized keyboard's buttons have degraded or are not working. The touch sensor is still working, and the touchscreen, of course, is still working at all. The square screen, which is of course the most signature aspect of the Blackberry Passport, is still just as fun to look at and use as it was when it was originally released. The larger screen area, compared to a traditional 16:9 rectangular screen ratio, makes it optimized for document reading and navigating emails. The weight of the Blackberry Passport and its design also is quite appealing and makes it stand out in 2023. This thing comes in at 5 by 3 inches, and it just weighs over 6 ounces. Overall, it's a great phone and it feels great in the hand, and there really isn't anything on the market today that compares to it in terms of its back rubberized design and square form factor. It also has a few ports that you might be interested in. Of course, you have the headphone jack, which of course isn't available on a lot of modern phones, and you have micro USB, which is still holding strong, which you can still use. So overall, there's a lot of qualities about the original design on the Blackberry Passport that still make it really appealing in 2023. The trick, of course, is being able to find something that works for the Blackberry Passport, as a lot of carriers are not supporting this, as many users got messages at the beginning of last year to switch devices if they were still running a BlackBerry 10 devices. Stay tuned for future content on just working software that's still available for the Blackberry Passport in 2023. But for now, unfortunately, it looks like with the shift from BlackBerry in their business strategy that support will no longer be offered anytime in the near future, and we're also not going to see any new BlackBerry devices from BlackBerry themselves in the near future as well. So there you have it, everyone. Just a couple of quick thoughts on the slow decline in support for the Blackberry Passport and why this phone is still pretty awesome in 2023 if you can get a working version of it. If you like this kind of content or find this kind of content helpful, leave a message down